Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you a strategy known as a character or anchor chart, which is an organizational tool to help students visualize the characters and the story as it progresses. The purpose of this chart is to help organize and activate background knowledge. Background knowledge is what students have learned from a previous article, what they know from their own experiences, and what they've read in the book. This strategy can be helpful to students navigating a book that has a lot of important and often heavy topics, like the one we're reading, the 57 Bus. It can help connect the pre-reading activities and the readings to the story, and it can also spark discussions, particularly during the prediction section, which we'll go over. So I'm going to show you how I set up my chart and how you can set it up in your classroom and kind of like manage it in the way you want. That works best for your students and what you're reading. So I have the characters, traits, evidence, and predictions. What I did begin with is I had the main characters written up top with their pronouns. That's something important in this particular story. I did not want the students to get bogged down with too many of the side small characters, so I just stuck with the ones that I knew had a lot of details and really related strongly with the main characters. In fact, the parents are off to the side because not that they're not important, but there's actually a stronger connection with the truancy officer and the friends. So that's just something that you can help set up for the students, just so they already know what they're looking for. And again, not to overwhelm them with all the details and the names. Also because one of the characters changes their name, and we just kind of want to help keep them on track there. So the way that I would model this is I would have after a reading, for example, I'm going to pull up the one on page 21. I think that's a great example. Carl, Sasha's dad, refers to that quality as Sasha's invisibility cloak. They blend into the background, he explains. So I'd ask students, what does that tell us about Sasha? Maybe somebody will answer. But I can model and say, yeah, that sounds like someone who's really shy, or they take time to get to know people, or they look at details, and I would write that up here. And after that, I would say, you know what? I've got my evidence right here. They blend into the backgrounds. Now that's up for discussion as well. What does that mean? And you can go further. What does that mean to blend into a background? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Why is that a good thing? Why is that a bad thing? So that's something that can kind of organically grow just from this one line. So a way you can guide them also through using this chart is, for example, when I read that Richard likes to work, what does that say about him? How is that different from the first page? The first page we learned that he burnt Sasha, which is a really heavy traumatic act to do, whether it was on purpose or not. What's a good line to write down here for evidence, right? So we have, he loved having a job, and we have, he wanted to give money to his mom. What does that say about him? What kind of person is that, right? And so that would also just help us spark discussions. So what do you think happened for predictions, right? What do you think happened between him working now and later burning Sasha on the bus? Please talk talk with your partner, groups of 3. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk to them about it together, and we're going to write the predictions down on the board. So this activity is great because it's good for pre-reading, just to get things set up so that students know what to look for, and absolutely during. So it's going to build as they read, as they get evidence, as we have discussions, right? And their opinions might change. They might think, reading about Richard on page 1, they're like, wow, he sounds horrible. But as they read the book and they humanize, obviously he gets humanized and we get to hear more about him. They're like, wow, he's different than I thought. So that's something that also can be brought up and continued to be added in the classroom. Now, ideally, this would be something that you would have throughout the classroom, in the classroom, throughout the reading of the book. So that way students can refer back to it. You can, if you're utilizing any writing activities, they can refer back to this. So it's always kind of just like making those connections and having the information available to them. Another great thing that you can do with these charts is if you have a student who's into art, they can draw these characters and give them a little bit of a boost as well. So this is just something that you can organically create in your own classroom.